Good evening. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. We are here for the Sunday night episode of, what we call DJBS, which means, DJs talking big stuff. If you've seen the t-shirts around, that's what yeah. But anyway, tonight we've got a kind of a cool little episode. We've got, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the gear, some of the things that have been coming through the Disc Jockey News office here, because we spent this past week working with a lot of different sound systems. So that's kind of cool. And then we're going to wrap things up with an interview of a friend of mine who is, if you're wondering what it's like to go and DJ for a celebrity, if we see these, we know they have events and such, and it's always kind of a cool thing. Well, it just so happens that Michael Holtz is a gentleman we'll be talking to, and Saturday night he got to be the headliner at Paisley Park, which is, of course, the home ground, or home estates, home studio, what have you, of Prince. And he was there Saturday night. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about it. We actually did the interview before the show because I didn't know, they go from 9 until 2, and it can go later. And I didn't know if he'd be in any condition to do this on today before tonight's episode. So we did this a few nights ago, and I want to share that to you because it's kind of a cool interview. And again, I won't go into too much detail because a lot of it's in there, but. So what's been happening at the Disc Jockey News this past week? Speakers has been our big thing. We have had different sound systems. We've had, if you get a chance, go to discjockeynews.com. I'm sorry. Go to YouTube, youtube.com/discjockeynews. One of the last videos we put up on Friday night, I actually went and we looked at some of those. I had the office. The other end of the office is where I keep my truck, and we literally just... pushed the truck out and set up some sound systems, and we got about an hour of looking at different sound systems. Looked at Vega, Yamaha, some RCF, Carvin, American Audio, Don Pro Audio. Who else am I missing? Some Omni system / Omni Sound, the Beta 3. We just had a variety of different things. Now, this week, we're going to be shooting some more video with a lot of those sound systems. We're going to go a little more in depth. Some of those systems, if you watch that video on Friday, and you can kind of scan ahead to see which ones we're dealing with. It's about an hour long, but really, each speaker is probably only about maybe 5 to 10 minutes because I was literally setting them up and taking them down as we went. But you'll be able to check it out and see, what kind of looks cool and what, which ones you're not somewhat interested, whatever. But it's... there, check it out. We're also trying the high def, the 1080p streaming. It didn't work quite as well as I was hoping to. I was hoping to have a little bit more bandwidth with that, so that's one of the bugs we're working out right now. Tonight's, just for you wondering, this is a 720 stream because we can handle that with our connection. But anyway, I'm boring you with that stuff. So, that's been a big thing with us this past week. Another couple of don't touch Mr. Microphone. A couple of other things we've got coming up. We're going to be making an announcement pretty soon about an additional show that's coming to DJNTV. We've got one more program that we're really excited to be adding to the repertoire. That announcement should be coming hopefully this week. Just kind of watch for that. Probably Wednesday. Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday night we'll be making that announcement. But if you haven't checked out some of our programming, Sunday night, this is DJBS night. We just talk about stuff, interview DJs, what have you. Then we've got Tuesday night. Tuesday night is Tuesdays with Ben Stowe. Ben Stowe goes and answers questions that people have sent in. If you want to send a question in, Ben's kind of a gear guy. If you want to send a question in, you go to Twitter and you do the @ symbol, NLFXBen, or the Twitter, the pound, hashtag, whatever, hashtag NLFXBen, and you can send questions about gear. This past week we had questions about the rubber gasketing on microphone cables and about crossovers were the two, and we could only take a couple a week because, when you watch the video from last Tuesday, we did it, it was April 1st, but it was a great episode there on crossovers, and Ben did some things with them drawing, and we hooked up to his computer and he showed some different things about, great stuff. To find that, go to different website. You're going to go to DJNTV.com and go there. You click on episodes at the top, and then that will give you all the episodes. But that was Tuesday. Wednesday night, what do we do Wednesday night? Brian Red and I. Wednesday's usually our gear chat. Usually we like to talk lighting and such. Well, Brian S. Red, a lot of you know him from YouTube. He was over at in Frankfurt, Germany, with Music Mecca and Pro Light and Sound. Yeah, I think I got that right. Pro Light and Sound. Anyway, he was over there for this huge event that's audio and industry related, not specifically DJ. It's just the music industry related. So he was sharing some of the what he saw, what was cool, what the event is about. Great episode, so you can check that out as Wednesday night of last week. And then Thursday, we're starting to kind of contour our Thursday night. It's kind of our music night. We're going to talk about music and interview people from around the world. Jason Jones is kind of heading the Thursday night up. And last week he talked to Jeremy Lanby. Jeremy Lanby does a lot of different work with teen dances, huge teen dances. I mean, I do small stuff compared to what these guys do. Big stuff, big sound, big lights. And anyway, he's getting into prom season. He has just a huge amount of proms coming up. And we're talking about some of the music that has been hot or has gone over well with teen dances and what he's kind of looking for with the upcoming. So anyway, so that's it. This week we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with speakers again. Watch our YouTube channel because we've got some speaker stuff. We've actually got some other videos going live this week that, some of the cool gear that's out there that is finally starting to come out. When we go to NAMM, we did that back in January. A lot of the things not available, maybe March or maybe May. Well, a lot of the things that we saw back in January are finally starting to become available. So we're starting to get some of those videos out to you so you can check out and be able to see it and say, ooh, I like that, and actually be able to go find pricing for it. Because that's really frustrating when we put up a really cool item and everyone's like, how much is it? Where can we buy it? And it's like, we don't know. Maybe March, maybe May. We don't know. Occasionally we find some prototype thing that's really, really cool and it never gets made. That's the way it is. So anyway, so that's what's new. Check out our programming again, DJNTV.com. You can go and find all the episodes. And later this week, hopefully we'll be making an announcement for a new night of programming for DJNTV. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to jump to the interview with Michael Holtz. Michael Holtz is a DJ from the Minneapolis. I think he's from Chaska, is where home is for him. And a good friend of ours, he comes, I met him through the Conclave, the Disc Jockey News Conclaves and things. He's been coming to those and been part of that. So he's really a great guy. And without any further ado, let's get to our interview. I'd like to introduce to you my good friend, Michael Holtz. Good evening, Michael.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And yourself?
I'm feeling purple tonight.
You are looking purple tonight. And that's kind of what our story is about tonight, of why you're feeling purple. But we'll get to that part a little bit later. But Mike, now you've been a DJ for how many years?
Over 15 years.
15 years. Now where did the path to the DJ world, how did you get started in the DJ biz?
It's kind of a interesting path. Back in high school, I announced basketball games, baseball games, and during the baseball games, I would play music in between innings. And so that started becoming a fanfare for everybody to kind of go to the games and find out what music I would play. And
sure.
Some of the players, would also request different songs as well. And I did school dances. I brought in the old home big, wooden speakers for the school dances. I had this console that I brought into with the vinyl record player, and then I also had just the DVD player that you could hook in, CD player actually. Now that we have, you got to remember we still have CDs around. Yeah. But I went to Brown Institute in '96, summer of '96. And while I was in Brown Institute for broadcast journalism, I decided, hey, I'm going to do a part-time job, and went and started working for one of the nationally known DJ companies out there, and worked for them through the duration of school. Then I went and moved back home to Painesville, Minnesota, where I got a job in Wilmer at Q102 and worked overnights for about 2.5 years at Q102. And there was a gentleman out there as well, Chuck Blum. I'm sure you are very familiar with him.
Know Chuck very well. A good man.
Word got on the street that I did some weddings, and so Chuck and I started working together, and I started helping him out with weddings. And then I decided I'm gonna make the move back down to the cities, and I went back to school for web design and computer programming, and I still got calls to do weddings and friends that were getting married. It was just that prime time of my friends' lives that were getting married, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start my own business, and here I am today. So it's my own. I've been having my own business since 2000.
Okay, neat.
Yeah.
Neat. So back in high school, now you mentioned that Painesville was your where you were. That was the hometown. How big of a community is that?
2,400 people.
2,400 people. And that's out in central Minnesota. You really wouldn't consider that the kind of nightclubish area too much, would you?
No.
And for those of you wondering, I actually the Disc Jockey News office is not far away from Painesville, so I'm very familiar with the area. So,
not in the least. You find a lot of ballroom polka joints probably around.
That's right. There's more oompa played out here than dance music, and this will come full circle towards the latter part of our discussion. So you were started out. You were doing the things during the games and getting your feet wet. So when you went with the multi-system, what kind of shows were you doing at that time?
I was mainly doing weddings.
Okay.
I would do a few of the school dances, some corporate events, but really what my niche was and what I felt comfortable with was doing weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just because of the enjoyment of working with someone on their special day and making that day possible for them and successful. It's you got the elegance of class, and then you have the big party, at the end. And so I fit well within that area. So
sure.
I did a few when I was going to Brown. I did a few clubs, but just really not too much of my style to be in the club scene.
Sure. And now you said from 2000, so you've been roughly 13 and a half approximate years. You've been, but you're running your own company now.
Right.
Now, as you have evolved over those years, what are some of the biggest changes that you have noticed in your performance during that period of time?
Oh, the biggest change that I've noticed is really it's not about the music. It's more about creating the relationship, with the couple that you're working with, and really talking about their ideas for the evening of, what do they want to do, and why are we here, and why are we celebrating this big day, and I really think that when you can kind of collaborate with them on the details at the beginning, and then you start talking about the music just kind of starts fitting in with everything, and you kind of figure out what their personality is too, and work with them on that with cocktail, dinner music, and the reception.
Sure.
So I think that's been a major change for me, where when I started out doing this, it was all about the music, but now the focus is, wow, there's just a lot more to it than just the music.
So then there must be a large difference, compared to when you started to today, in any amount of prep time you're putting in with an event.
Oh, prep time, I'm probably putting in about 25 to 30 hours now.
Wow.
Prep time, and it when you put in that much work, it's amazing how that resonates on the day, and you're more prepared, and you feel a lot better showing up to an event. I still get the butterflies in my stomach. I always get nervous about the big day, like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, you bet.
But that's a great feeling to have. And, I have an assistant that works with me, and I always tell him, like, hey, when you got those butterflies going, that's a great feeling to have before any show.
Yeah. I think I've heard someone mention that the day that you don't have that anymore is the time to get out.
Right.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. So now, with your performance now, when you look back, I like to do this, especially on Thursdays when I do the Throwback Thursday picture on my personal Facebook page. You think back to what we used to do and how we used to do it. With your performance, now you mentioned it was music. How has your performance evolved from those early days to where you are today in a wedding situation?
Oh, the performance based, I think the main thing that has changed for me is being that master of ceremonies, and really as far as when I speak, I'm speaking with purpose about the couple, or or what we're really there about, or what situation's really going to go on as far as the bouquet or garter toss, and just kind of really learning a lot about what it is and what the significance is, versus just, hey, let's get a bunch of people on the dance floor and we'll do the here bride, call, yell out all these names, and which it's more of, hey, we got a different scenario here that we can work with and really make it unique for you guys and make it special for someone, than rather having the girls or guys just run off the dance floor.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, and that networking and working with a lot of other DJs out there that really want to build up their performance, that's been a huge thing for me as well.
Sure.
Just sharing ideas and sharing them back and forth as far as, hey, what can we do? I mean, it's there's so many weddings out there. We don't, you can't have them all. Yeah. And I just look at, hey, I'm not in competition with you. I want to help you grow and help me grow, and that's a great thing to have.
Oh, certainly. You mentioned, of course, the networking. What other things have you done that have helped you grow from where you were to where you are today?
Great question. I just recently finished this past winter the entertainment experience with Bill Herman, Jason Jones.
Nice.
And that was definitely a very eye-opening experience for me, and it has helped me improve what I want to do, as far as my personal goals and how I work with my couples, and it's interesting when you give them the vision of the experience, and there's like, wow, we were just looking for 4 hours for a DJ, but you know what, we're getting a lot more.
Oh yeah.
And that's very valuable to them, and they're just like, they're just like, well, we didn't know that there was so much involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's just been a great testament to Jason and Bill to have those type of workshops, and I look forward to many more. I haven't done any of the Mark Farrell workshops yet, but those are some of the things that I want to get to and also improve my game on that. I recently won improv classes at the Burnsville Taste, and so I'm get signed up for that and
nice.
Do some improv.
That'll be fun.
It will be. I'm very excited for that.
That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I've talked to numerous, and one currently that's going through, or just finished actually, I think is Rod Ruth, one of our writers. And yeah, he's really shared how much that's helped, not only in his performance, but in the sales area, which I wouldn't have even thought that. So it'll be interesting to kind of touch base after you've gone through or into that. What your thoughts are on that?
Of course. Yeah, I'd love to share my experience on that as well.
Good stuff. So now I can't help to notice, you're dressed a certain way tonight. Wearing a little purple. You've got you got a little purple on, and you've got a bandana on. Now I happen to be, on the Facebook the other day, and I see that there's a party going on.
There is
at this place called Paisley Park, I believe is what it was called.
You've heard of it?
I've heard of it. There's a guy who lives there, owns it. I don't know, some guy.
Yeah, they call him like the Purple Yoda or something like that.
Purple Prince? Prince is that the guy?
You know what? I think you're right.
I think that is. And if I remember correctly, as I'm looking at the poster for the event, by gosh, there is a guy who has the same name as you.
Yeah. That would be me.
So you are going to be headlining Saturday night at Prince. What are these? first off, for a lot of people who aren't familiar, where Prince is based out of Minneapolis, and that's home for him. Now,
Yes.
is Paisley Park, where you're going to be playing, is that part of like his home complex, or what is that?
As far as what I know, it is now. That's pretty much home base for him.
Okay.
He probably has. He built a building on the side of it, and who knows what it is, but it's probably where he sleeps.
Yeah, and for those of you who aren't familiar, for the younger ones in the crowd, Prince was a very big. When did Purple Rain come on? That would have been what year?
84.
84. Okay.
30 years this year.
Wow. Oh my gosh! Wow, we are getting old. So
I was 6 when Purple Rain came out.
Okay, now I'm getting old. Yeah, because I remember, that you couldn't go to Purple Rain because it was just too risque to go see that.
My brother let me watch it when I was 6, and then the one part, the purifier herself in the water, Lake Minnetonka, I think he told me to go somewhere, but I think I snuck back.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad in so many ways. So now I was looking at the schedule. You're going from it's like 9 until 2 in the morning.
9 until 2, but there's possibly an hour and a half slated in there for, a live band.
A band, yeah. It said something about there could be bands, is what it said. Didn't come out and say, so that. So the first question, as someone who programs, programs music for events, as we do, what do you play for a party at Prince's house?
Well, obviously you're not going to play the Macarena.
There's half of my playlist gone.
That's out. Shuffle. That's out. Chicken Dance. Well, maybe Prince might like that. Who knows? But that's a great question. The vibe of Paisley Park, now, kind of give you a backstory. Ever since I was able to drive, I think I was a senior in high school. I drove 2 hours down here to attend these shows at Paisley Park, and they were either late night shows. You'd get a notification via email. Hey, there's a show happening tonight. Come on out. Doors going to open like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And you could be out there until 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I remember when I was working in radio and I worked the overnight shift, so it was great for me to go out to Paisley Park. But those days that I had to work a Saturday afternoon shift, you'd be getting back at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm going to be on the air at noon.
Oh my!
But I had a great experience, and definitely it was always something to talk about, because when you go out to Paisley Park, you might hear him play the classics or whatever, but a lot of it is him working on new material and experimenting with stuff. So, and it's great to hear that. You don't get that in like a big concert venue setting. Everyone wants to hear Purple Rain, so
sure, you're
going to get that. But back in 2000, I actually was out there one night, and they didn't have a DJ, and so I knew one of the sound engineers that worked there at the time. He was actually in a band out in Wilmer, Minnesota, so he knew that I worked on radio. And I was at that time where I'm getting my feet wet more as a mobile DJ, and so he's like, hey, we don't have a DJ tonight, can you play? And I'm like, you want me to go up there and play for Prince here? It's like, yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. Well, I get up there, and the system happens to be vinyl. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Oh, my.
So I learned pretty quick on the fly, and the DJ booth was kind of more on an upstairs area. And so the funny story about that specific moment is that's when Prince was still known as this, symbol here.
Yep.
He didn't go by Prince, and he had come up to the DJ booth, and he was standing next to me, and he was sucking on a sucker, and just kind of enjoying the vibe. And I had queued up a song on it was the Love Symbol album at the time, which had My Name Was Prince on it.
Mm-hmm. And
so I thought I had queued up another song, but the My Name Is Prince song started playing, and I'm like, uh-oh. Is he gonna just give me a bad stare, like, I don't go by that anymore, or what are you doing, type of deal? And I'm like, oh boy. But he was just kind of hanging out, and I'm like, what do I do? Do I just, extend my hand and say, hey, what's up, Mr. Prince, Mr. Nelson, or But I was kind of like, I'll keep my cool, and he just kind of hung out a little bit, and guy, was listening, getting the feel, the vibe of the music, and then all of a sudden he took off and went away for, a good, probably an hour or so, and then one of his guys came back, handed me a song, and said, here, put this in. This is the last song of the night. And then I'm like, I have to wonder, like, did he just, like, go and record that? Like, how, super freak of a genius he is, that he just, like, got some sort of, song in his head that, okay, I got to go back to the studio and do it and then bring it back. And then that week, actually, that's when he made his big announcement. He was changing his name back to Prince.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying, I don't know if I had anything to do with that, or
I like your story better. That yes, it's all your fault that he changed back.
Yeah.
This random song plays. Wait, maybe if I changed my name back. Oh.
So that was a great experience, but it was definitely an experience where you're thrown into it, and that being in the moment type of situation. Boy, yeah, that was definitely being in the moment. Like, wow, did that just happen?
Oh, for sure.
Right. But throughout these last couple of years, I've done some other events. I did a charity event for one of his former band members. I'm sure you're familiar with Sheila E.
Yeah.
About 2 or 3 years ago at the Fine Line, I did an event for her. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. She got ill at that time, but we had a great time. I threw a CD release party for Prince. It was kind of more of a. It wasn't really anything going on in kind of the mid 2000s in the Minneapolis area. It had been a long time since there was a party at Paisley Park. So I'm like, there's a new CD coming out. It was the Minneapolis Sound Lotus Flower CD. I'll throw a CD release party together and then just kind of send it out to all the local Purple fams here.
Mm-hmm.
And then sure enough, I got a call from Prince's people like, hey, here you got it. You're having this party. What's it all about? What's it going on? Is it okay if his sister attended and showed up? I'm like, hey, that's awesome. So, I think just throughout those years, it's kind of just stayed in touch. And Monday night, I think it was maybe around midnight or so, we get a call, and I'm like, is this an early April Fool's joke, or what's going on here?
Hello.
Yeah.
You're thinking to yourself, oh my God, who calls me at 12 o'clock? Who's dying?
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Like, what? Oh, I'm like, okay, yeah. So like, yeah, we've been starting to have these weekend shows at Paisley Park, and we were wondering if you'd be available this Saturday to come out and spin for us. So I'm like, yeah.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Open.
And then you talk about those butterflies.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh boy. My wife was like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. Did you see the New Girl episode with Prince where?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, where he shows up out in the garden and they both look at Prince, and he's like, "Okay, you can start freaking out now." Where he faints, I'm like, I was kind of feeling that moment, like when I got the call, I'm like, "What?" So, but yeah, it's definitely an honor and privilege to, get that call.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, when you talk about the vibe of the music at Paisley Park, I mean, you're gonna have the vibe of the Purple One, playing, mixes of his music, maybe a little bit more of the ones that aren't so well known. I mean, those are always good ones to throw out there because people still love hearing those, and
oh yeah,
kind of put a few of the well-known ones in there. But otherwise, the other mixes that you do would be like some 70s funk music, R&B. You kind of keep it to that taste of the James Brown era and all that. So that's
sure.
Kind of what the vibe is out there when you go. And I loved going out there when in the earlier days and listening to the music, because it really inspired me and turned me on to newer artists out there as far as music. You hear something new and you're like, well, who is that? And
yeah.
It's a really good song. So that's kind of the vibe that people will be expecting Saturday night, is you're going to dance to some Prince and some other funky grooves, and you never know what happens.
You never know who might show up.
Just like the flyer says, you never know what happens.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
Last Friday it was Prince is taking you to a movie, and then Saturday night Prince is playing. But yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. So yeah, you'll be going until 2 a.m. I mean, is it one of those things that you have 100 people there, 500? How many people will show up on a night for something like that?
Relatively the crowd has been a good size. I mean, you're probably, I think last weekend, like last Friday, you're probably maybe pushing probably 1,000 people out there.
Wow.
So, I mean, and that's a really good crowd, to have out there on a, Friday night. And, I think, that word starts getting out more. I'm sure there'll be a lot more people heading out there just for a chance to possibly see him perform.
Or to see you perform.
Yeah, that.
Either one. Either one. The guy from the small town in central Minnesota.
Right.
Oh, cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Great Gatsby, where you're going to a party at Mr. Gatsby's house, but is Mr. Gatsby going to show up?
May or may not.
He's there. But you don't know where he's at.
Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, I'd love to touch base after after you get done with your some of the improv things, and then we can touch base about that and kind of catch up and see how what kind of a vibe you're getting in that Prince world as you've been playing it for some of his shows.
Love to.
Sounds great. Well, Mike, thank you very much for being on with us tonight.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
You bet. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. So that was Michael Holtz. Michael, of course, is a good friend of mine, and that'll be really, really kind of cool. I haven't talked to him today after the show, and we'll find out, how that went here. We're actually going to be talking to Michael, hopefully a little bit more about that playlist, which he was playing at Paisley Park, and to focus on a few songs that we don't use at weddings. And we're hoping to talk to him about that on a Thursday night with our music night. Okay, got 2 more things for you. First off, a lot of you have seen things like this. This is the Ultimate Sport Jam stand right here. It is a speaker stand. Now that a lot of us have subs that that have the speaker mounting pole, plate, cup, what have you, that we're using these a lot more. They are adjustable. You loosen a little nut, you can adjust these up and be able to lift your speakers up, because you want to have those top speakers so they are above above the heads of most people. Not the whole speaker, but that for sure that tweeter that it's above the head so it can cover the room. Well, I wanted to kind of share a little bit with these, because there's ways to use these and there's ways not to use these. And as someone who's had a lot of DJs over the years, things like this can sometimes get used improperly. So What the way this works, of course, you extend and such. Generally, you would extend, set it, and then put the speaker on. Which that part is not what I want to go into. But you've got this little set nut here, and where the problem comes is that a lot of times when you have people, especially staff, who've not played with these things, they think that this is what's going to hold the weight to the speaker. That's not the case. These have a pin, and a pin is the most important part of this to some extent, because you can go through and you can say, oh, let's go to the third hole. You put the pin in and let the weight of it sit there. What's this for? Well, really, there's two purposes. One is you slightly snug it up just so it's touching. You don't have to go hard. It's really so that if you go and lift that speaker off, that this isn't going to come right up with it. It won't come. It could if you pull hard, but the idea is that it won't come up. Secondly, it's the hold. It's the little clip part, and it's to hold this little pole. I'll just back this out so you can take a look at it. There's a little ring, and it goes right there, so that you don't lose that little pin, because that little pin, again, is the most critical part of this configuration. Now, what happens? Well, occasionally I've had DJs that would lift this up and they'd crank this out and they'd leave this set. They'd tighten this so much, and what happens, that happened to this particular one. I'll show you it. Is we'll take it off. I'm going to switch cameras on you here so you can see better of what I've got here. Let's see, where am I at? Right here. Let's switch to this camera. So you can see that it's a little bolt here, but what ends up happening is that they will tighten it so much, and the other end is just a piece of plastic, really, that is kind of glued in there. There's a little bit of a threading in there, and the mold is kind of made so it'll fit in there, but it's really just kind of glued. So it really isn't a super strong connection whatsoever. So to work with that once they've cranked it too tight, what will happen is that it will actually break inside here, and this will spin. This will just spin, and you can spin it all day, and you can't loosen it up. So what you end up doing is literally grabbing onto this with a pair of pliers, and you'll see where it's kind of broken there. Is you have to snap this off to loosen this, and then you grab your DJ's best friend at times is a little tube of super glue. In this particular, I guess this one is super glue gel. And you put a couple of drops in there, and glue it back on, making sure, of course, that you're not. We're going to take this off to do it, but we're going to put a couple of drops in on the sides here a little bit, so we can get it all together, and we'll cover this up. Stick this in. And I'm going to let it sit because I don't want it to stick to anything else. After that's dry, it's never going to be as strong as it originally was, but it's going to at least allow a person to turn it on and turn it off, and it'll hold and won't allow us to lose this little guy, which again is the critical part of it. So anyway, if you have staff and you have these type of speaker stands, take 5 minutes and teach them how to use these properly. Again, that little set thing isn't what holds the weight. The weight is held by the pin. Okay, final thing for the night. You maybe have heard of this company. These are Vimoda. This is from Vimoda. These are the Crossfade M80s. You've probably seen some of our videos, and we've got some pictures online of the Crossfade, the M100 or the Crossfade LP. Those are some really sweet headphones. This is their kind of little brother. Very good quality headphones and very impressive. I'm not even going to bother to open these up. Love these. I love these so much that I'm going to give this to one of you. What you need to do is you need to go to the Disc Jockey News website, discjockeynews.com, and we're going to have a link for you to sign up for our monthly drawing. Now, this particular month, we're doing the Crossfade M80 from Vimoda. Again, great headphones, very durable, metal construction, incredible sound, replaceable. This is a great DJ headphone. We're going to be giving these away in April, but what you need to be doing is you need to go and you need to sign up. We're going to be drawing from our email list. One person who we pull is going to be the winner. So if you're not on our email list, you need to sign up. If you are on our email list, when you get one of our emails in the next couple of emails, click on the bottom to manage your subscription and go in and check and make sure we have your mailing address. We need your up-to-date mailing address, because if we don't have an up-to-date mailing address, we will draw. When we check, if we don't have it, it'll be tossed out. So if you're not on our mailing address, I'll put a link in the description below. Sign up. And you can even go there and you'll sign up And if you are already on the mailing address, it'll just add you to that drawing list, so you're not going to be getting more emails from us if you're already in there. But this month, we're giving away Crossfade, the M80s. Next month, we've got some more stuff. We've already got that one lined up, and I'm really excited, but we're not going to talk about that one until we're done with April. So April drawing, headphones, sign up. Link will be in the description. It's cool stuff. That's it for our Sunday night DJBS. Again, this week we've got Ben Stowe on Tuesday night. Wednesday night should be Nick from Showbay DJ. He's going to be coming in and talking about some lighting and such. And then Thursday night is Mobile Music with Jason Jones. Check it all out at DJNTV.com. Generally about an hour beforehand, we will put up in the top video window. That's where you will see the stream of the evening's show. Once again, John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Good night.